I can't wait to get back on the road again. Back again. Dude, like for the baggers.
Back home again.
Back home again.
In
Indiana land.
Welcome into Dirtyard Dish Season 4, Episode 7. I'm Blake Voris with the Mid-City Moonshots, and I'm joined by two new attendees and hosts for Dirtyard Dish. We've got Taylor Carpenter and Mike Speek Sr. How you guys doing?
Good. Thanks for having me.
Glad to be here.
Nice. So on today's show, we're going to go over the Week 4 signings. So we're going to take two teams each since there's three of us on here. So the Moonshots were the first one to announce on Twitter. And they signed, their final signing was Jeremy McIntyre. Jeremy's been out of the league for a few years. He is an athlete. He can jump. It kind of reminds me of you, Taylor, in a way, in the field. He's got mad hops, fields ground balls really well. So I think that Jeremy's going to be a great signing. He'll get on base. So you'll put him probably at the bottom of the lineup, right in front of Will. And then Will should be able to hit him around the bases, kind of like he did with me last season. That leaves the Moonshots with 1.3 remaining in cap space. So then we'll move on to the shorts.
Yeah, the shorts pick up Holden Palmer. And I think it's a good pickup for him. You've got another arm, which I think is needed. I don't know how consistent that arm is going to be. I've seen him play. I've been around him, but I don't know him that much. But he can hit and he can pitch. And I think the shorts needed another arm. And with Aiden being questionable, I think you pick up another questionable pitcher. But at the same time, God, if he's on, I mean, it's a great pick too. So,
yeah, Holden kind of he's hit or miss sometimes, but when he's got his best stuff, he can really be one of the best pitchers in the league. I'm excited to see him back with Brendan, and I think he'll do a lot better this year. Next, it looks like we got the Pistols. So Taylor, if you want to tackle that one.
Yeah, the Pistols, they took Dalton Lewis with their final pick in free agency. I think it's a solid pick for the Pistols. He's a good guy to have around the team, and I think he hits decent, and he's got a pretty good arm. Blake was kind of telling me that he threw a pretty good game against the Moonshots, so maybe he's been working on that in the offseason possibly. So
yeah, he's got a little cutter, and he hits the board, which in this league, as you guys are well aware of, sometimes that's all you really need to do. People like me are going up there looking for walks most of the time. Walks or pitch to hits, and Dalton will fill it up a little bit.
Yeah, I think it's fitting well with the Pistols, so I think it's a pretty good pickup.
Yeah, culture-wise, I think it's great. Now, next, the Hounds manager Dylan Jones announced that they were signing Bailey Busher. And I don't know if you guys remember Bailey well or not, but he played in the league a few years ago. Mike, actually, you probably have played with him a little bit. He was on the Hounds. I don't know if you guys, the 8 Balls and the Hounds ran into each other a few times in the playoffs. Yeah. And I know there were some great series. But anyway, Bailey was a pitcher for that team. And he also was a sweet swinging lefty. So he'll be another left-handed hitter, which those are always dangerous at the Dirtyard. And I think he's going to impress a lot of people on the mound too. I know he fills it up quite a bit, and he's got decent velo too. I think it's a really good signing by Dylan. I thought Bailey had 2 or 3 teams that he could possibly land on, one being the Shorts, one being the Hounds. And I know he had a relationship with Will. So for the Hounds to get him with the last pick, I think his value is a little low. And I think he's going to come out and surprise some people.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is too, I mean, you got a guy that can throw. pitching is, I mean, it's a needed commodity in the league. And the more guys throw and the more experience they get, as veterans, I mean, the better things start to get for them and things can click. So, I mean, it's a good pickup.
Yep. And then last, or actually, no, we got the Yackers next. I think Taylor.
Yeah, the Yackers took Jay. I think he's a good body for him. I know he swings it pretty well. We were talking about his numbers before this. Kind of a little bit surprising that his numbers were actually up from where I thought they were. So that's good. That's a good bat to add to the end of the lineup there for the Yackers.
Yeah,
Sure.
I agree.
And then Mike, I think you got something up your sleeve here. You haven't tweeted out anything on the 8 Balls account. What you got?
We're bringing in Keegan Speek, my nephew.
Soccer.
Yeah. Well, it's not a needle mover for us, but it's a pick. It's a family pick, and it does a couple things. He's 18, senior in high school, plays on the baseball team. He's going to be in travel ball over the summer. I don't know how much I'm really going to get out of him, but it does two things. It, one, secures him on the 8 Balls, so you keep the family and the name in there. And two, he is going to be a good wiffle ball player. And it keeps him here, and it takes pressure off me as a coach on having these bigger rosters on fitting guys in. So it's a good fit. It's a good fit for us because the method to my madness in these picks is more after this February. So this is my eyes have been set outside of February. So
right, maybe we can hear about a little more about that later on in the show. We'll see. But just to kind of recap, we didn't go over cap space. I kind of mentioned it with the moonshots. So the moonshots have 1.3 remaining. The shorts have 5.8 remaining. The pistols have 1 remaining. Hounds 16.3. Yackers 11.9. And the 8 Balls have 42.7 cap space remaining. With that said, the rookie draft order, when the coaches are selecting rookies, they're 1 rookie spot. It'll go the 8 Balls, the Hounds, the Yackers, the shorts, the moonshots, and then the pistols to fill out the roster. Which signing do you guys think moves the needle most? I know they talked about that on one of the previous shows, and I really liked the insight that they gave. Out of these 6 guys, which one for you is the needle mover?
That's what I think Senior and I agree, but I would have to go with Holden. I think he has, from as far as I know, the biggest upside of any of those players probably for this year, if you can put it all together. I think that he could be a really good fit for the shorts. And, I mean, he could slide in moments at number 1 if Aiden's struggling, or, could take a little bit more of a back seat and just help him out on the mound.
Yeah, I'm going to agree with that. I think the shorts move the needle the most here. Bailey's a good pickup. Again, anytime you're getting an arm and a good sweet swinging lefty, I mean, he would be probably between those 2 for me, but I'm going with Holden because of the arm and the potential of what he can do. I think it's a much needed pickup for the shorts, and I think it could pay off for him.
Yeah, I definitely agree with much needed for sure. They needed another arm to come in there and be their number 1 or number 2. I think Holden and Aiden are going to battle for that all year long. They may motivate each other, honestly, being brothers. Yeah. I want to be the ace on my team. I could definitely see that happening. Yeah. And kind of both of them pushing each other throughout the course of the season. But my needle mover, I went with Bailey. I just remember him seeing another lefty arm. We don't see it a whole lot. I feel like that's a huge advantage for the Hounds to add another lefty at the plate and on the mound. I just think this league, the field is great for a lefty. I wish I was left-handed when I was out there. It's much easier to get down the line in less time. So yeah, Bailey's my needle mover. But we'll move forward now after covering the signings, the week 4 signings, and we'll power rank like we have in the past episodes. So Taylor, if you want to go into your power rankings real quick, which teams do you think are 1 through 6? Or actually, we'll do 6 through 1.
Yeah, 6 through 1.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, my 6, it's pretty standard up to this point, but I think it's the shorts. I definitely think that at some point they could be up more towards the top if the 2 pitchers figure it out. I mean, they have a really good foundation, but it's really just if those guys can figure it out. I like adding Keegan to that lineup. I think that's obviously a good fit. So the shorts at number 6. Number 5, I got the Hounds. I think it's just really all about finding a second pitcher for him. I mean, Sprink has been lights out, and I know that we've mentioned a few guys who could step in. So I think it's really about finding that second pitcher, and then a little bit maybe issues with the offense. We'll see who steps up. I wonder if Sprink will get some more at bats this year. I know he showed out a little bit in the past, so we'll have to see about that. Number 4, I've got the 8 balls. I've got us there, and I'm sure at some point Blake can go into that, just where he's putting us. But I just put us there just because I think it's a little bit to be determined. We got a lot of guys who haven't really played as much, or maybe haven't gotten the chances yet. But I think we got a lot of strong pieces that at some point can really help us. The Moonshots, I have them at number 3, and that's another one. It's just kind of about I know that they could be 1 or 2, but it's the second pitcher thing for me. And once again, that's what I think the league is going to be pretty strong. It's who can develop these second and third pitchers, because we all know who generally who the aces are, and who's going to really show out for these teams. But who can be your second and third guy in crunch time? I think that's just with how close the teams are. There's going to be a lot more pitching movement with guys coming in and out. I don't think it's just going to be. I think, and with the longer lineups, I think it's going to cause maybe a little more issues with the pitching. So we'll see with that. Number 2, I've got the Yackers. I think they've made some great pickups here in free agency. I mean, Rudy's done a really good job with this duo. Cade, I think that's a really good pickup. And then obviously Mitch, Kirchhoff, and down the line, I think all really solid players, all veterans in the league. I think that the veteran obviously adds a lot. So, and then number 1, I've got the Pork Pistols. I think their offense is going to be pretty scary out there. I think Reed probably just steps his game up even more than he has thus far. I think he's in for a huge season. Same with Bundy and Thomas. I think all those guys are just going to explode this year, and we'll see what happens.
For sure. Mike, what do you think about power rankings? You agree with what Taylor's got, or you got something different?
I'm similar. I'm definitely very, very similar to him. Number 6, I've got the shorts. And when I break the shorts down, I mean, they're scary. And
they'll be motivated. They'll be motivated for sure.
Oh, sure they will be. There's no doubt about it. And I know how Brennan is, and he's going to see this, and he's probably going to post this video in his garage as he's doing his workouts with his shirt off. So I'm sure that's what's going to happen. But the thing is, when I look at the shorts, I look at 3 things on each team. I look at defense, obviously hitting and pitching. Defense, they're an A+ defensive team. There's no doubt about it. I mean, you got Brendan out there, he's a vacuum. Plord, I mean, that guy, he's like a Labrador retriever, and you throw a bone out there, and that guy, he's just he just no regard for his body, no regard for health. He just gets the ball. So their defense could potentially give them some wins that other teams wouldn't get. Certainly, I think you're looking at maybe 4, maybe 5 outs a game that attribute strictly to the defense, which is going to be a help for the pitcher. So there's things with that I see. Great strength on that defense. Hitting, obviously above average. You know, Dudas is going to be there competing for the Silver Slugger again and the Triple Crown. Their issues pitching, as we all know. They're consistently inconsistent. So Aiden, I've seen him thrown at NWLA, and man, that kid, he put games together that were just literally brilliant. But it's never translated over to CCW. I've seen great innings out of him. I've seen maybe a good game, but never together. So, you know, I don't be surprised if their best pitcher ends up being Cody because he is that slow pitch guy that he's going to hit the board, you know.
Peppers
but
the board, yep.
If he's making them hit defense, you know, I mean, you got to get it through the defense. But they're a team that come playoff time, I would not want to face in a one-game playoff. In a series, take my chances all day long because I don't think they're consistent enough to get through it. But in a one game, they're scary. So the Shorts are my number 6. 4 and 5, I've gone back and forth between the 8 Balls and the Hounds. I'm going to put the Hounds at 5. And I'm putting them there just because, you know, Sprinkle is a damn good pitcher. The guy's got a rubber arm, and he's shown that he's a workhorse. Dustin Dowden is going to have an opportunity to get in and get there as well, and he's a good pitcher, and he's learning. However, man, that's an awful lot on one guy, an awful lot. And he goes down. If he goes down, they're done. I mean, they're not even going to be in the consideration based on how I see them going. Now, the pickup of Bailey can be good, but again, you got to look at the history, and you got to look at what you're actually seeing on paper. Defensively, I give him a C. Pitching, I give him a B plus, because I think you know, Dustin's going to be there, and Sprinkle without a doubt. So I mean, hitting, I'd say they're average, kind of where they sit. So that's kind of where I'm at. Now you come to the 8 Balls. That's where I have us. Man, I could talk for a long time on this because I am excited about this team. And I look at our rankings, and on paper, I absolutely understand it on paper. I get it. But I'm telling you, what I see here, especially with Taylor, golly, I love that guy. I couldn't wait to pick him as my duo. There's so many things about him that I love. I mean, his defense is an A+ defense. There's no question about it. He is right up there at the top. And it's amazing. Great speed, great body control. I mean, he's like floored that way. I mean, excellent game awareness. Then you move into hitting. He's one of the best. Mm-hmm. He's going to be competing for that Silver Slugger and that Triple Crown as well. And then you look at the pitching. Man, there's so much with him I see with pitching. He reminds me of my son. And if I can, this my goal is to get him to throw that junior's pitch, that hard, low rising slider. He already has the mechanics, and he already does it. He just doesn't have the confidence to let it go, and that's what I'm going to try and get him at. So
time out real quick. Taylor, this has to be music to your ears, dude. Like you've got, that's one of the best wiffle ball coaches in here saying you remind him of Mike Speek on the bump, Mike Speek Jr. on the bump.
No, yeah.
Dude, you're destined for a fantastic year with Senior sitting behind you. That's exciting to see, and I'm glad you're both on the show tonight to kind of talk about this.
I've definitely felt that way. I mean, we talked quite a bit, and even going back to some talks last season. I mean, I knew that it could be something that could really work, and I felt like, I mean, selfishly, I felt like I could really develop out of being in a duo with him, and obviously that brings a lot of other things with the team. So no, I'm happy as hell, man. I appreciate it, Senior.
Yeah. So
absolutely.
Go ahead, Mike.
No, just say, and what you're hearing right there, one of the things I love about him, you're talking about a guy that wants to learn, wants to win, and coachable. You can't ask for anything more than that. And he's got the fire and the passion and the drive. He is an absolute team player and going to be the core in this team. And I couldn't be happier to have him be an 8 Ball. So that is, there wasn't even a question about anybody else out there. I wanted this guy. You know, I go down my other guys. I know there was a question about Durant. You know, what the hell is Speek thinking? He's taking that guy. He's a 10, you know. Again, here's a guy, second fastest arm in the league, right there behind Reed. And again, what I see in him, I see his release. I see what he's doing. I will get him on the board by the end of the season. And if he's on the board come playoff time, the 8 balls are in finals. It's just, that's what you're going to see. Connor Morris, what can you say about Connor? The guy's an 8 ball for life. He's a power hitter. He is a great 1-2 punch at the top with Taylor. You got Landon Ball. I don't know much about him. That is 100% on Taylor, and I trust him. And what I hear about him is he is well undervalued at 14. And so I think he's going to play up over that. So I like what we're poised. And then I'm not going to talk about myself, but I know what my strengths and my weaknesses are. I can pitch, I can throw. I'm not going to blow past anybody. You guys know me, but good luck is all I'm going to tell you, because, when I'm out there, you're getting my best. So, all right. Third, I got the Yackers third, and this is where I differ with Taylor. I could have gone back and forth Moonshot and Yackers on this one as well. I got all the respect in the world for the Yackers, and I think they're poised to make a run, and they've got a lot of positive stuff here. As you get to the top, gosh, this is so close. You got James Hayworth. Don't know what his arm's going to be like, but it's a live arm. It's maybe not consistent, but it's an arm, and you can never go wrong with an arm. And he's a good defender, and he's a scrappy little hitter. I like that pickup. Mitch Boyce, man, oh man. I tried hard to get him. And I will tell you this, Mitch, you're watching this. I respect the hell out of you, buddy. He had early on committed to Rudy, and I did my best. I pushed to do what I can to get him, and I had him back and forth a few times wanting to come over, but in the end, he stuck to his word, and I have the utmost respect for that guy. Now, Hopkins talked about him last week, and he had it spot on. There's guys in this league that are veterans that haven't clicked. He's one of them that I think is ready to click, and I wanted him to click with me. But I think if he's able to figure himself out on the mound to get that consistency on the mound, you're looking at a pitcher that puts the Yackers up there, because Rudy's a good pitcher. And he's got command of a lot of pitches, but he isn't taking you to the promised land on the mound. It's not happening. Mitch can take you to the promised land. That guy, he can do it. And then you look at their hitting. You got Cade, Alex Gerchev, things like this. Now, their hitting is deceptive, just to throw this out there. From a fast pitch standpoint, I think they're average. I don't think they're great fast pitch hitters. But God forbid you can't hit the zone and you got to go to slow pitch. I think that's the best slow pitch hitting team in the league. Those guys will dominate if they get the opportunity on slow pitches. So that's scary. Their defense is average. There's a lot of other things I can talk about here, but I like the Yackers. I like what Rudy's doing, and hats off on putting together a team here. Mitch is your core, and he's the guy that's going to take you there if he's consistent. Next one, I moved to the Moonshots. Again, what's not to say about Will? Top hitting, top pitching. He's going to compete again for an MVP. He's going to compete for the Cy Young and all those things, and rightfully so. And he gets another year under his belt, and he gets the experience of throwing the cut ball in these different tournaments that are out there. I think Will can be better, but Will's beatable. He's beatable, and that's the thing. So if his arm goes down, the Moonshots, they're done. I mean, that's just all there is to it, because Blake, it's on you, and I don't think you're going to take it, everybody.
I don't either.
But hitting wise, I mean, well, first off, defense. You guys are an A defensive team. With Smithy on the mound, you're an A defensive team. Again, Tyler Gregory out there, Austin. I mean, great guys. The group that you guys have here obviously is a close-knit group. You guys have fantastic camaraderie. You guys are a good core, and you pick each other up and support each other the way a successful team should, and it's gonna come through for you guys. Your hitting's above average, but your pitching is the Smithy show, and if he goes down, you're done. That's why I'm putting you guys where you're at the number 2. Pork Pistols I have as number 1. And they're very similar to the Moonshots. They're going to go the way of Reed Warner. Now, the reason I'm giving the Pork Pistols number 1 is totally because of Reed. Reed, like Thomas was talking about last week, veterans in the league and guys that are ready to click and to turn it to the next level. I saw something in Reed in this cut ball tournament out in Pennsylvania where he was finding himself out there. I was watching what he was doing on the mound and working with him a little bit, but that guy, I think he's ready to be consistent. Now, I got to throw this out there, Reed. This is a challenge. You've never beaten the 8 balls, ever.
Oh, no.
we live in your head for whatever reason, and I love it. So hopefully that continues. If not, you know, you're going to be the guy that's absolutely competing for the Cy Young. I think, and I made this prediction earlier, with your hitting and your confidence, I think you have a shot to compete even on the MVP level. You look at Tyler Punt, there's another guy. He's got an arm. He can bring it at different times, but if I remember, he's got arm issues and stuff. So he can be hurt here and there, but man, what a good hitter. What a great guy. What just a relaxing feeling when you're looking at Thomas Hopkins, you know, Punt and Bundy and these guys in there. It's just, that is a fun, loose, great team. They've got good hitting, and they're ready to go, but they will go the way of Reed. If Reed's out, they're done. They're done. That's just all. It'll be the same type thing. So that's my power rankings.
Yeah, I'll kind of dive into it pretty quickly here. In my 6th spot, mine are way off, and the reason why, it's so hard to rank the league now, and I think that's the coolest part.
Sure.
I think all the teams are gonna flip-flop back and forth all season long. It's gonna. I think the competitiveness and league-wide is just gonna be amazing. But anyway, I have the Yakkers, and you guys are probably gonna be surprised by that. I have them in the 6th spot. I want to see it all click and mesh together. It's a bunch of new personalities together. And they need consistent strikes from their number 2 thrower in my mind. I don't think they're hitting. I could be wrong. I mean, I think they have some great hitters on their team, but we have a lot of great hitters league wide. I don't think it'll put them over the top. Basically is where I'm at. But I do think that Rudy did an excellent job still getting people to commit to the Yakkers, losing the Dowdens. I was wondering which direction he would go. And then I think to fill out his roster, he did an excellent job. I want to see it click for Mitch this year. And I know you mentioned that. We kind of saw it at the end of the year, but if it does click for Mitch, I'm completely wrong. And I think they'll vault up those power rankings of mine right now. Next, I have the Shorts. I'm not going to give them motivation of everybody put us in the 6th spot because I know how that works out with them. You look at me not having Keegan come back on my team, and he has the best hitting season of his career. Brendan constantly does it over and over and over again. Those guys, Housey, he's a league OG. He's a great power hitter. Those guys are all going to be motivated. Holden and Aiden, like I said, they're brothers. And they're just going to be motivated all year long to kick everyone's butt because we're putting them in the 6th hole and saying that they can't hit the board.
Well, Blake, if I can just jump in real quick on that, I agree with you without question. On paper, they shouldn't be 6. On paper, when you look at them, what puts them 6 is the history of the performance.
Yeah,
so I agree with you. I agree with you.
But I think their pitching is going to be a little better than what we think, just because they're going to be so motivated. Aiden had a video already on Twitter. Brennan was behind him at Southport, getting them throwing a bullpen session. We're going to see a lot more of that, I think, behind the scenes. And then he's going to come out and surprise some people. Next, I have the 8 balls. I think you guys might be too low, to be honest with you. The thing is, you don't have, well, you do with Duran. Who's to know what you can do with him, Mike? But you don't have that high velo guy on the mound. And Taylor, if you get it to click, man, on the mound, you guys could easily be number 1. I think you guys have a huge advantage with Taylor and Connor as lefties, and Mike, you can even swing the bat lefty too. You guys can go a whole lefty lineup if you want to. Well, I guess the top of the lineup could be, and that's very hard to defend out there. I think you guys could, like I said, the competitiveness. Every team I think has a shot to win this year. So these preseason power rankings could be way off. But that's where I got you guys at. I'm excited for Simo. You know, he's going to hit a bunch of slow pitches out into that tree. Taylor's going to do the same thing. It's going to be the 8 balls tree or something instead of Doyle's tree by the end of the year. Next, I have the Hounds, and I feel like a lot of people are sleeping on the Hounds. Sprinkle did win Cy Young last year. He's gonna carry them. DJ, it's gonna be nice to see him as the main focal point hitting wise for a team. He's one of the best hitters we have in the league. So I think Bailey, I mentioned earlier, was my needle mover. I had the Hounds 5 before they signed Bailey. And then they brought him aboard. Like I said, I think he's going to surprise some people. I think he's going to slot in right there with Dustin as their number 2. They're both going to battle each other. And then that competition's just you're going to find a solid number 2 on that team. So that's where I have the Hounds. It'll be fun to see Sprinkle hit.
Yeah, I worry a little bit about their hitting, but
yeah,
we'll see.
Do you think Sprinkle's gonna? He always has a high average, or has on the shorts.
He'd get the 2 for 4, or 2 for 4 on the season, or 3 for 4 on the season with a bomb.
Yeah, I worry. I worry about some of their hitting too. But if they can get the Dowdens to step up at the plate, I know Dustin had a pretty good year last year. Then they'll be all right. But I have them at number 3. Next, I have us. It is very dependent on our number 2. We may be too high. If Mike Whitty and I can't step up and fill that number 2 role, Mike's going to have a lot of velo, is what I understand. So if he can hit the board, which I believe he can, he's an ex-baseball, UND baseball player. He was a pitcher. I think he's going to have the motivation to come out and work on his craft.
Who recruited him? How did where was that relationship?
He played in a league a few years ago, I think at one of our tournaments. He didn't play for that long. He may have played on the Hounds. I'm not sure. But yeah, he was in the league a little bit, and then I think he got hurt. He had some kind of surgery, and then he stopped playing. But now he's done with baseball. Smithy reached out to him, and he was the main recruiter on that front. And then next I have the Pistols at number 1. I think most people besides Reed, I think, and maybe Hopkins, of course, they're both on the Pistols. No one wants to put themselves in first in the power rankings. I think you hit the nail on the head, Mike. I think it's all going to click with Reed. For him to be their ace, I think he's going to figure out how to hit the board more consistently. And if he does, no one's touching him all year. I mean,
like I said, yeah, with experience. I mean, as a veteran, you gain experience, and that experience has to click. If it doesn't click, you're caught in the loop of being a guy that can't depend on. But seeing him the way that I've seen him progress in this last year, I believe he's there. I believe it's going to happen. Then
I definitely do too. Not to mention the fact that all these guys can hit the snot out of a slow pitch. They're all slow pitch softball players, man. Like, and Reed could hit it right over that tree too, any slow pitch. So if you walk those guys, you are in trouble, especially having Reed on the bump. So that's where I'm at. I think we've seen similar power rankings across the board. I kind of wanted to switch it up a little bit, not have some teams more motivated than others going into the season, because I know that's going to be a fuel to the fire for sure. So the last thing I wanted to do is I wanted to ask a few questions, since we have the luxury of having two teammates on the podcast simultaneously with kind of another host. So I'll interview you guys in a way. I'll give you guys each like 3 questions or so, just to get your insight on your chemistry, what you guys think about the players that you have coming in. I know you kind of went over it a little bit, Mike, but that's what we'll do in this segment. I'll start out with Taylor. So you guys have Landon Ball on your team this season.
Right.
What do you expect from him? I know you guys are former teammates a few years back and good buddies.
Yeah. We played on it was the Big Ballers a few years ago. My first year back I never was in the league, but I played that tournament before that. But my first year in the league, we were on the Big Ballers. We were like the 1 and 2. We just didn't really know what we were getting into at that point. It was medium pitch. It was a lot different game. Man, he's actually he's my cousin. He's from Jasper down south, and now he lives up here. I think he's going to be a pretty big arm for us at some point. I know when he played medium pitch, he was always a little frustrated. Couldn't air it out like he wanted to. But I think give him a little bit of time just to kind of get his feet underneath him. But I think he could be a really valuable arm. And yeah, that the value of 14 to me, and seeing some names closer to the 20s, I think he's definitely going to play higher than that 14 value. And at the plate, maybe a little bit of a wild card, but I feel like with the team that we put together, we've kind of allowed ourselves a little bit of leeway on that. So
Right. Nice. Yeah, I'm excited to see him back in the league.
Yeah. He's wanted to get back in it forever, but it was just hard for me to break up with the shorts.
Yeah.
Like just the last end of that run there. So he wanted to get back in, but now finally we got a spot for him, and happy he's on the squad.
Nice. Mike, I got a question for you now. You guys obviously have the most cap space remaining. With that said, do you have anything up your sleeve for the season that you want to share? Was it difficult for you to get guys to commit originally? Did you pick certain players because you have a strength of coaching who you thought had high ceilings and you want to coach them up to get to that point? What was kind of your strategy, and do you have any kind of announcements or anything that you want to dive into?
Sure. Yeah, I've got some announcements in that, but I'll just tell you kind of how I approached it. Taylor and I, decisions that were made as a team, and it's not me just going out and picking guys. And believe me, there's a lot of guys that I wanted to call and I wanted to deal with, and it's not that I didn't want them. I had a specific strategy in mind, and my strategy centered around arms. So I totally trust Taylor with Landon Ball. Like I said, I don't know him, but what I'm hearing, and Taylor, is he a lefty hitter too?
No, he's right. He's righty.
Okay, is he a lefty pitcher or righty? Oh, righty. Okay.
Righty, yeah.
Okay. Well, the thing is, you can never be short on arms, and so my whole goal is centered around pitching. So when we were picking guys, that's what my focus was. I also wanted to have hitting too, but the goal was to be in two positions. The one position I wanted to be in is I wanted to have the highest cap space going into the rookie draft. I mean, look at the rookies that have come out of the league. I mean, you got Cade, you got Alex Gerchev. I mean, guys that can hit. I'm in position to get that pick. So I'm going to see what's out there. I don't know if other teams looked at it this way. It's how I looked at it. In addition to that, now I can tell you what my announcements are. You know, we secured two guys outside of this tier. We've got Kyle Gagliardi. Gags agreed to join the 8 Balls on the inactive roster as a free agent.
There's your first announcement. Welcome to the 8 Balls, Gags.
Yeah, and I tell you what, excited about this guy. You're talking about a good pitcher. The guy's all over the zone. He's got a lot of experience, plays in other leagues. Now he's going to miss that first round of the playoffs, but guaranteed he is going to put in time here to be playoff eligible, because I plan on being in that final, and I want him to be one of those vital parts, whether he's on the bump or whether he's on a bat. And if I remember, he's another lefty too, isn't he? I think.
No.
Yeah, he is.
Is he?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I mean, again, I'm looking for guys that I can get some help with at the plate, and again on the arm. And the second guy, we claimed Ryan Vogts. He's been claimed by the 8 Balls via waivers. That's another big pickup. Now, the thing.
So you guys, yeah, that makes sense because you guys had the first waiver priority.
Yeah, because of the cap. That's why I say, not that I didn't want to pick certain guys or have guys feel uncomfortable about, oh, you know, I didn't hear, because I mean, everyone's trying to get everybody. My strategy is to be in position at the end to get the first picks coming on the backside, because I really think that's where the hammer punch of strength comes through on a team. And with my cap being where it's at, it gives me the flexibility, you know, to move guys in and out. And to be frank with you, my cap space is 44 or something.
43. Yeah, 42.7, I think.
42.7. So where that puts me is, you know, I'm getting older, 53. Like I said, I know what my strengths are, but I can pull out and bring in some of these young guys with better guns. I mean, if you look at it, you look at a lineup like a Gags, Vogues, Connor Morris, Taylor, and one of them's pitching. There's the 4 you're facing. You know what? Good luck. Or I can put Duran on the mound with those 4. Duran doesn't even have to hit. Good luck. I mean, when I get him on the board, that's what I'm seeing. That's the method to my madness of how I was looking at this.
Yeah, I think that's an excellent job getting those 2 guys on board. If you can find a way to make that cap situation work throughout the year, and if you can get those guys eligible, I think you guys are 1 or 2, honestly.
Sure. Well, I'll tell you this.
Probably a favorite.
Guys, well, I don't want that pressure. I like being the underdog because I mean, for years, that's one of the things I loved about Rudy. I love that Rudy never put us where we could be, because he couldn't get past us and we get to the finals, you know?
Right.
So I like that aspect, but the guys that I've picked, and Taylor knows this because this is part of our conversations. I've got selfless guys that are team oriented. And when I recruited these guys, I let them know what I'm expecting for roles. You're not coming down and you're not playing. If we got a 3-game set, you're not playing all 3 games. We're going to do what we have to make guys eligible. They're all in. They've promised and guaranteed that they will be eligible for full playoffs. They're going to make the runs. They're obviously good friends, and it makes it simple for them to come down together. So I'm very optimistic at me being ready. And like I said, if I got to take a back seat, if my production's not there, and I'm taking a back seat, I'm selfless. I'm telling you. To me, it's about the team. I want to be in the finals. That's what I want.
Yeah. Well, good job. Go ahead, Taylor.
I think the number of arms we're going to have is going to be relentless at times. I think if anybody's had an off day, there's going to be multiple other guys that have the opportunity to come in, and a lot of maybe newer pitchers are going to get some time early on. And I think midway through the season, we've got, 5, 6 guys that we can throw out there at you at any time, and they're gonna be good.
There's
Right.
no question, absolutely no question. There's not a team in the league that's going to have the depth of pitching that we are. You go down our roster across the board. Obviously, you got Taylor can throw, I can throw. Duran, we'll see what happens with that. Landon Ball can throw. Connor can throw. We saw how he started to come on last year. And then obviously Gags is a good pitcher. I'm planning on him being a vital part of the rotation. And then Vokes has speed. He's a guy that has had injuries the last 2 years, and he's had surgery. He says he's 100%. His body is in shape. He's ready. He is planning on being what he's used to being on the mound. I mean, there's nobody that's going to have the arsenal of arms going into a game that we have. That's a major advantage. That's the number one thing I looked at in drafting. I want arms.
Yeah. I think that's a great strategy. So moving on, Taylor, I wanted to throw a question your way. The past couple podcasts, Dirtyard Dish episodes I've seen, your name consistently gets thrown into that MVP race. There was that article, I think you were like 3rd on the list. What do you think of your chances at winning that award at the end of the season? I know a lot of other people are talking about it.
Yeah, I mean, I think I've got just as good a chance as anybody. I'm going to be working my ass off for it. I mean, I think part of it comes with the pairing with Speek. I think some of it is a potential thing, and maybe seeing what he can maybe bring out of me on the mound particularly. And I'm excited for that. But I feel like I'm right there. But like he was just saying, I want to win. I mean, we've been on some really good teams, but we haven't won the trophy, and that's really what I want. And I think we got a good group of guys to do that, man. MVP would be nice, but that's not what it's about at this time, man.
Yeah, that's Mike. That's exactly what you want to hear as a manager.
It's the truth, though. I mean, it really is the truth.
No, I believe.
I got you, but that's how I feel, man.
Yeah.
Win, and if being good makes us win, then that's what I'll do. I mean,
yeah. I definitely think you have a shot at it. I think you being on Mike's team is a match made in heaven. I think the fact that I think it's awesome that you landed there, dude. And I think your name's going to be right up there at the end of the year, even if that's not your main goal. I think you definitely have a shot at it, and I think the 8 Balls definitely have a chance to win. So I think you're in a good spot there too. Mike, I wanted to go your direction. You're obviously the most experienced wiffle vet in our league. You've been playing for the most years. How'd that start? How'd you get involved in the sport, and when did it start?
Well, like you guys, I've been playing wiffle ball since I was a kid. My brothers and I got my older brother is 11 months older. I got another brother 15 months younger. Super competitive, all of us in baseball, and moved on through different aspects of that. When we played, we didn't play a typical backyard game. We played full on at each other, and we played at 36 feet from the pitcher's mound to the zone. That's how we always played. So you think how close that is, Yes. And it wasn't until 1997 when we were in Chicago, I came across a national tournament that was going to be down at Grant Park, and we still played. I mean, we still continue to play ourselves. And we got into this tournament. There were 91 teams in this tournament. First time we've ever played in this tournament. Went out there, won the tournament. And it was awesome. And that tournament was at 41 feet to the zone. So going from 36, where we were, killing each other, to 41, it was like, holy mackerel, look at the difference here, And we dominated that tournament, won that, got involved in that circuit, got involved in a wiffle ball circuit. For years, our tournament record, I think we were 38 or 39-0 through the early 2000s. Never lost. Won everything we played. We won everything we played. We're the number one ranked team for years. But that's what we did, and we got involved on the travel circuit where we would go around the nation, and you're playing in these tournaments for money and different stuff. And you got great teams. I mean, great legendary guys all around the league. And that's how we got started. And it was always fast pitch, and it was a big bat game. It wasn't the yellow bat game. We played the bigger bat game with the cut balls, which is guys that have seen that or have had a chance to kind of get involved and touch that game. They know what that game is. It's the next level, and it's crazy. That's what I came through with my brothers. Yeah. And we had an advantage. My brother Frank was he was a pitcher with the Cardinals for 5 years. So when he came in, he was one of the fastest guys in the league with my kind of control, where you just dominate the board with insane speed. It's just he was crazy. I couldn't throw as fast as him. I was always in the 80s, but yeah, he was always pushing it up in the mid 90s. I was probably mid 80s, but I had my control. That's what I've always had control. So, but we were a good team. Just three guys.
Well, your success hasn't really diminished at all as an 8Balls organization, being in CCW. So I think you've kept the streak alive pretty much with your success that you've had in the league so far as a team. So kudos to you.
I appreciate that. And if I had a goal, my goal is to be at the Dirtyard with my son and my grandson, maybe still playing. That's the goal. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, it'd be awesome to see for sure. Yeah. So hopefully you can keep that going. Taylor, I wanted to ask you another question. I managed the national team at this past year's NWLA tournament with Mike, and it was really nice to see you on the team and kind of grow. Can you go over that experience, your first national experience, and what would you think about it?
Yeah, man. No, I thought, well, first I was happy and honored to be on the team, and I feel like I should be there, and that's I was happy that it worked out that way this year. But no, the tournament itself, the competition, just kind of talking about the cut ball competitions. I mean, these are the best of the best yellow bat players, clean ball out there. I mean, we saw some really good teams, and I think that seeing the better pitchers kind of put our league into perspective, and kind of what I'm seeing, and just like how far the envelope can be pushed. And it kind of makes you think about players in different ways. And I liked that part of it, where I could think about the players we have and then see maybe players that we have that are comparable, and maybe some of these guys are just blowing them out of the water. So I thought the different talent level was really good to see for me. And I thought I hit pretty well, played the field. But no, I was happy with my performance at the plate. I wish we could have done a little better. I know we had some close games and some tough breaks, but we'll be back for sure.
Yeah, I just want to give you props, man. Like I browsed your hitting stats at that tournament in preparation for the show, and you were pretty much the best hitter on our team. You hit 321, slug 429, 1 home run, 9 RBIs, which was the highest on the team. Yeah. That's really an awesome job, like going in there blind and not knowing what to expect. I think you really made a name for yourself there, and definitely opened up my eyes, like going forward, if I'm still like part of the roster building process, like that's going to be ingrained in my mind is how well you hit at that tournament. So yeah, really good job. I was super impressed. A lot of times when guys come in there for the first time, they struggle a lot.
I had a moment for sure. And like in the first game, I can't remember what team we played, but I was seeing stars a little bit for a quick second. So Brennan kind of slapped me around and was like, "What are you doing?" And then I got it together eventually. Yeah, that's what I think, going out on a stage like that with great players, you kind of do. And I mean, I'm a little more reserved, so I do lose a little bit of myself when all these big personalities are around. And that's where I really just had to like think about it. And it's, it's just wiffle ball, man. Like just hit the ball and everything's going to be all right. And I thought I settled in well, like you said. So.
Right. Well, guys, I think that pretty much wraps it up for this episode. We probably went way too long. But I really appreciate having you both on. I think everyone who watches it is gonna enjoy seeing your insight on your team, your analysis of the league, and then the Q&A, learning a little bit about you guys. I think you should be two faces that get out here more. You're two of the more talented people in our league. So thanks for joining me, guys. I appreciate it.
Oh,
Thank you very much.
Thanks.
Yep. So I think we have an episode coming up next week as well. Tune into that. Appreciate you joining us. If you stuck around, thank you guys, and have a good day.
I can't wait to get back on the road again. Back again. Dude, like for the baggers. Back home again. In Indiana land.